All right, guys, Copper Cutlass here. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me! Yay! Cheers. So today, actually yesterday, I drove the car to work and I realized that when I punched it, my AFR was going extremely lean. We had this situation before, and I thought I had it figured out. It must have been one of those unicorn moments where it worked okay under certain circumstances, but I'll explain that later. So what happened was, driving the car and I punched it, and the thing, even driving down the road, like I punch it and it would just go dead lean before it recovered. So took it to work today, stayed a little late, made a little noise, and I was messing with the pump cams. So I went up, because obviously I'm going lean. Well, here's where it gets interesting. With pump cams, you're not only dictating the volume of pump shot, but you're also dictating the duration of the fuel pump shot, because it's a cam, like a camshaft. So the graphs and charts are a little confusing, so I just started looking at the graphs, right? So the graphs show you at how many degrees, how much duration, well, not necessarily duration, but how much fuel shot you're getting volume wise, and then it shows you a graph throughout the travel. So I took out the pink cam, which I had in there, flipped upside down, and it's supposed to be a very aggressive pump shot. Well, my problem was not pump shot. The problem was the duration of the shot. I was all done with the fuel shot too soon. Or at least that's what I feel, because I went to some of these smaller pump cams with a lesser CC volume, but with a longer duration, and my flat spot went away. It's almost all gone. At least now, when I floor it, I'm still going a little lean, but not to the point where I was going straight into the red. As soon as I went to wide open throttle, I was going to like 22.5, 22.6 for like a split second or two. Now I'm hitting 17.5, 16.5 for a split second. And the other issue too is, and I need to do this because this is part of my issue, is I don't have enough timing at the RPM that I want to launch it at. So I ideally need to lock out my timing, and it will help things a lot for me. But at the time, for the time being, I'm running this distributor setup until I go to MSD and I can have a retard switch to start it, and that way I can start it when it's hot, because obviously my time is going to be locked out. But so on this, what I ended up doing was, I have a green cam on the primary side, and I have an orange cam on the secondary side. So I'm going to buy another set of cams, and I'm going to eventually mess with the green and orange cams, either going green, green, or orange, and seeing what happens, because right now they're staggered. And they're very close, and it's running very good, but it has a very, very slight flat spot at the RPM I am launching it from. If I peg it from a dead standstill, I have a very slight lean miss, but I'm not launching from off idle at the track. I'm launching at like, the sweet spot for this setup I have right now is about 1800 RPM, and that's just taking the slack out of the drivetrain, and I'm not getting rid of any suspension travel, the car lifting. So right now the sweet spot's about 1800 RPM, and launching it at that RPM, watching the AFR gauge, I'm hitting about 16.5, 17.2, which is going lean, but it's not going lean to the point where it's dying, and you also don't want it to go rich to the point when it's dying. So I got a little bit more tweaking to do, but I think, unfortunately, due to what I have, and due to the fact I'm trying to hit the track, I think I'm good now. I don't have a severe bog like I did in the past. And the weird part is, I don't know how, last time we went to the track, it did not have this severe bog, and it just changed. But also, about a week after we hit the racetrack, I found out I had some crud in my needle and seat. It was getting stuck. So the needle and seat could have been dumping fuel consistently down as it was getting stuck and wasn't closing or operating properly. So it could have been dumping fuel off idle to the point where it was curing it, and then after I replaced the needle and seat and took care of all that, it went back to its old ways. So, because the temperature has not changed severely here yet from the last time I messed with it, for it to be a cause for that. So, but I think now I'm watching the AFR gauge and it's going in a direction which I want it to. So, I stopped messing with it today as I obviously ran out of kind of components to mess with. I could have tried other cams, but it was my birthday. We were going out for dinner. It's after dinner now, and so at least when I go to the track, based off of the cams that I chose, the position they are in, I kind of can see which way I need to go. Whether, obviously I went up, because after I put the pink cam in, I took the blue cam out, and I put the pink cam back in there in the number one position, which in the number one position you're going to get your most aggressive shot, unless you flip it upside down, which the pink cam is the only one you can flip upside down and still make it work. Keep that in mind. But either way, I tried the old settings after trying on the secondary, and it got worse. So I need to go to something a lot less aggressive, with a little bit more duration, because my problem is I don't think I have enough timing early enough in that RPM range until it ramps up to where I'm running out of fuel essentially at the end of the throttle blades opening. So the fuel shot's running out too soon. And you can hear my dogs in the background. It's a little annoying, but they're dogs, love them. So either way, that's what I did today. And as I mentioned, we're trying to hit the drag strip Saturday evening for some testing tune. It's going to be 89, 88 during the day, but hopefully it cools off enough at night and to make some good passes. I got my slicks, I got my tubes installed. I think I mentioned that in the last video. And the other thing I want to mention is, so changing the pump cams is easy. It's one screw. You got your pump cam here, and it actuates this lever, and that lever actuates the pump cam. And you got this spring set up there. And so what I do is, because you have to reset the spring every single time you change the cam, I tighten the spring until it's all up. I put the cam in, and then I slowly loosen it down until I have almost no slack. You know, you don't want any vertical slack, and then you go ahead, you open it up, wide open throttle, and then you should be able to stick a 15 thousandths feeler gauge between the bottom of this stop, or this bolt and screw, and you should have some extra, about 15 thousandths of movement, and that's strictly so you don't rip the diaphragm by overextending it on the accelerator pump. So when you guys are swapping out your pump cams, that is one thing that I watched actually a video from Holly. I believe that they did not mention that, at least the one I saw. So guys, say hi to the dogs. They're actually both in here, Finn and Ava. So yeah, as I was saying, again, been dealing with the carb back and forth. I'm learning as I'm going. I've never done this much in-depth tuning with the carburetor. Usually it's been set the idle, maybe change a pump cam here and there, and it's been good. On this one, I've rejetted it, changed shooters, changed pump cams, you know, and it's been a really good learning curve for me. It's been a little frustrating at times, but today I literally just started messing with pump cams, because the graphs can get really, how can I say this, confusing, I guess in layman's terms, but with that in mind, just if you have your own car and you're switching pump cams, you know, I guess figure out where your pump cam that you have in your carburetor falls onto the graph. Unfortunately for me, I had one of the most aggressive cams, so I went up one more. I went to the blue, and then I realized this got worse, so I went down, and things started getting better. Just like jetting, you either go up or you go down. Note your changes. So for me, I went to slightly less aggressive pump cams. I lost some CC and volume, but I did gain some good performance. Now I can. It was going lean at idle when I was running it. That's how bad it was. So, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. It is my birthday, so hit that like button, share, follow us on Instagram, Copper Cutlass. Don't post there a whole lot. Lately I've been busy, but you know, follow us on Facebook, Copper's Garage, and of course, if you're watching this, you are on YouTube watching us as Copper Cutlass. So, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.